Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakar, Kodash. Alright, double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that rule and teach well with the correct doctrine and exhortations of the heavenly scriptures. Peace and salutations also to the hopeful elect Akim throughout the four winds of this earth, preaching his word in all sincerity and in faith. Yahweh Shai Barakatham. Alright, just want to get into me quick lesson concerning the Gentiles. I'm the brother Ahmad Yala, and this is the brother
Abanya.
Alright, we're going to get into a quick lesson concerning the Gentiles, understanding of the Gentiles. First, how we were scattered, throughout the four winds of the earth, via the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, as a punishment, for our iniquity, and what was that iniquity? Is, taking after the customs of the heathens, and being separated from the Heavenly Father because He's jealous power. Alright, and then, we're going to go into what took place when we were scattered, in these other nations. Then lastly, we're going to get into how we were brought back, how we're being brought back, and how we're ultimately going to be brought back, as one nation. Alright, so the first precept I'm going to get is Deuteronomy, Psalms 147:19.
I got you. It's a Psalm 147:19. He showed his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Alright, so yeah, he only shows his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. Alright, go on.
He had not dealt so with any other nation.
Right, and that goes right into it. He has not dealt so with any other nation. And they don't know anything about, the Heavenly Father's judgment.
Everybody want to, claim the heritage, the Bible, the Word, but they don't really know. They don't know, the ways of the Most High, because the Lord didn't give it to them for them to know. It said He had not dealt so with any other nation. For as for His judgments, they have not known them.
Right. As for His judgments, they have not known them. All right. They don't know what it's like to be scattered throughout the four winds and be subject unto slavery, be Hellenized. We're going to get into those definitions, in just a little while. All right.
Say, praise ye the Lord.
Yep. Praise ye the Lord. All right. Next scripture is Amos 3:1.
This is Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Hear the word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
All right.
Say, O children of Israel.
Right. O children of Israel. All right. Because the Bible reiterates that over and over that He's only dealing with the nation of Israel, and not any other nation. Israel is His first beloved,
Against the whole family which I have brought from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Right.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Which further proved that, the Lord didn't deal with no other nations.
It's pretty much self-explanatory. All right.
Say, you only have I known through all the families. It's like all the families of the earth. Therefore, will I punish you according to your iniquity.
Yep. So he's punishing the nation of Israel, and we're the only ones that He's punishing, in regards to us breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. That scripture, we're gonna jump over to Deuteronomy.
Got a precept for you real quick.
Come.
This is Shabbat. You go ahead. I'll find it.
Okay. Jumping over to the book of Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, the Lord Yahweh power shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. Alright, from one end of the earth even unto the other. That encompasses the whole entire globe, the whole entire earth. We were scattered everywhere.
Got it.
Alright.
through all four corners.
Through all four corners, you know, through various means, through the sub-Saharan slave trade, we traffic it primarily over there in the Middle East, you know, through Middle Eastern countries.
Even when you go back, when you talk about during this time period, you know, you had the Syrian Empire, the what's that, the Byzantine. You know, we was in servitude in all these empires.
God, yep, it was in complete servitude, you know, and destitute as a people. And it says, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right.
Yeah, and then when we was in those different captivities, you know, we picked up and you know we served other gods and we forsook the you know the ways of the Most High.
God, yep, forsook the ways of the Most High. Exactly.
Via Christianity, Islam, you know, Buddhists,
God.
you know, and whatever other guys you know that they were serving.
God, yep, and that's what those words wood and stone goes into. That's what it refers to. You know, the wood being the idol of Christianity. You know, and the stone being like the cobblestone over there in Mecca. You know, of Islam.
God.
And the next scripture, I'm going to jump over to Ezekiel 36 and 19.
I got you.
Okay.
This is Ezekiel 36 and 19. It said, and I scattered them among the heathen.
God, he scattered us among the heathen. All right. Just like the last passage over there in Deuteronomy 28:64 referred to. You know, we scattered among all nations. These heathen nations. All right. Go on.
And they were despised, and they were dispersed throughout the countries according to their weight and according to their doings I judged them.
God, you know, it says according to their doings. And what were the doings? All right. The doings were taking heed to these other nations, you know, idol worshiping.
Idol worshiping, giving heed to, you know, seducing spirits, following after the ways of the heathens.
God.
You know, picking up on their gods. Whatever they were worshiping, that's what we were worshiping. That's what we were into.
God, yep, you know. And he says he judged them. So this ultimately was a judgment from the Heavenly Father.
God.
You know, for our rebellion as a people. All right, and to further elaborate on that, you know, you got to go over to the book of Maccabees 1 to 10. You know, that it goes into exactly what they were doing in these other countries. You know, particularly what era was that? Go to Maccabees.
So let me continue. And when they were entered into the heathen, they went and profaned the holy name. And when they said unto them, these are the people of the Lord, and they are gone forth out of the land, you know. So they went for it said, and they went and entered unto the heathen, whether they went and profaned the holy name, because we weren't, you know, keeping the ways and the law statutes of, you know, how about Shem Yahushua.
Mm-hmm. And we profane his holy name, you know, put him to shame. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on that. We can jump over to Maccabees now. I'll read in there.
Start at 1.
All right, this is the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, a Macedonian who came out of the land of Chittimum, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
Right, so this like you explained, you know, this is during the time of Alexander, during the Greek Empire. You know, I go to verse 10.
This is verse 10. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root. Antiochus, short name Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 130th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, verse 11, it says, and in those days went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Right. It said, and in those days went out wicked men, who said, let us make a covenant with the heathen. When you speed up that time to the day, that's your Jesse Jacksons, your Martin Luther Kings, basically conforming to this society, conforming to to the ways of the heathen.
Kind of basically selling out,
right?
As it were. Same way you got all these celebrities selling out to the elites in Hollywood, and all these different corporations.
Therefore, surnaming themselves, after the heathens.
Yep. And it says, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. All right, so they made a covenant, an agreement, a binding agreement with the heathen that were around them. All right, basically selling out. It says, for thence we departed, from them we have had much sorrow. All right, verse 12 it says, so this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do according to the ordinance of the heathen. All right, so you had some people that were so forward therein, that gave wholeheartedly to that idea of being part of that Greek culture,
Right, they were constantly, signing contracts, which, the license basically is like a contract. You got to get permission to do certain things.
God, to take about the ordinance of the heathen, which are all pagan.
Which were, basically, which were, against Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Kind of, I was going to say that, completely opposite of the ways of the Heavenly Father. It says, verse 14, it says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
The gymnasiums, the Greek word for gymnos.
Yep.
The big coliseums that they were building. Same thing we got, here today.
Kind of.
Go ahead.
It says, at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, they made themselves uncircumcised and the foreskin and forsook the holy covenant. So they made themselves uncircumcised.
And during that time period, they were literally making themselves uncircumcised. They would take the foreskins, basically make it, pull it, stretch out the foreskin of the penis to make themselves uncircumcised.
Yep. And that word, uncircumcised, you looked it up in the Greek, it goes back to it means a krabustia, meaning having a foreskin uncovered, a Gentile, a condition in which the corrupt desires rooted in the flesh were not yet extinct. And then it's a few precepts that follow that in Acts 11:3. Saying that, well, I'll just get it. So Acts 11:3 says, saying thou wentest into men uncircumcised and didst eat with them. All right, so it's just going into the because there's different meanings behind uncircumcision. There's the physical being uncircumcised, how they did with the heathen. They made themselves physically uncircumcised. Actually, what was that process?
Yeah, that's what at this time said that they made themselves uncircumcised. I forget the correct term, but yeah, basically what they were doing, they were re-circumcising themselves, uncircumcising themselves, should I say? Which hey, whatever, by all means,
it was a physical, painful process. All right,
and forsook the holy covenant. That prior to forsaking the holy covenant, they were conforming to the ways of the Gentiles, and they were not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord commanded them. And joined themselves unto the heathen, where they were sold to do mischief.
Right. They were sold to do mischief, you know. They went completely off. All right. And so the next scripture we're gonna explain, you know, what Greek mean. Jump up to the book of Galatians 3:28. Okay.
Said there is neither Jew nor Greek.
There's neither Jew nor Greek. Now that word Greek, when you look that up in the blue letter, all right, it goes into ethnos, all right, which is where you get the word ethnicity from, all right, and so like there were neither Jew nor Greek, all right.
There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither free nor bond. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Yahushua.
Huh. So from there, we go into we explain, you know, what Greek, you know, is going into, you know, meaning ethnos, you know.
Slide. I'm gonna pull up in blue letter real quick.
Yeah, pull that up.
Yeah, you keep explaining that. Read that over again.
Because the word ethnos is going into a company, said a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus. All right, the human family, a tribe, nation, people group. All right. The fifth definition of it in the blue letter, it says a nation not worshiping the power of Yahweh, pagans, Gentiles. You know, pagans and Gentiles. That we became pagans and Gentiles among these other nations in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. You know, because we took after their customs. And pretty much right now we're just breaking down what these terms mean, just so you can get a better understanding. You know, understand why it is that we were called Greek and Gentile, you know, in the eyes of the Heavenly Father, why we became likened unto them.
Right, and when they say there's neither Jew nor Greek, you know, the Jews were, you know, the ones who knew that they were of Jewish descent and were keeping the law. Nor Greek, you know, and those Jews who you know, were calling themselves Greeks. There is neither free nor bond. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Yahushua. You know, so we were all Israel. Or you know, they were not all, but you know, for the most part, they were Israelites. That's who you know, Scripture was written to.
And then the next is Ephesians 2:11.
This is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who were called the uncircumcised by that which were called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Right. It says in times past Gentiles, you know, according to the flesh. All right. We became Gentiles according to the flesh because we uncircumcised ourselves. You know, they uncircumcised themselves in that day and there, like we were saying, we were going into that. You know, how when they built places of exercise, you know, gymnasiums, they took out their customs of the Greek, which the Greek custom was to be uncircumcised. You know, so they did physical operations upon themselves, which was very painful, to say the least, to uncircumcise themselves and become Gentiles. So they're saying we're in times past Gentiles.
They became Hellenized, you know, and the word Hellen, you got the definition for the word Hellen?
Yep. The root word for the word Helen says the name that embraces all nations, not Jews, that have made the language that have made their language and customs learning of the Greeks their own. All right. So yeah, they took upon the Greek customs and made it their own. You know, that's how they became Hellenized.
And what we just reading in the Maccabees, they took on those customs, took on their ways, naming themselves and taking on the, you know, whatever the Greeks did.
God, you know.
So, going back to verse 11, it said, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh," being Gentiles in the flesh. The word Gentile.
Yeah.
You got it.
Gentile. The word Gentile goes in the Latin meaning gentilis. It says a heathen or non-Christian or Jew, a heathen man, one of a race or nation which does not acknowledge the God of the Holy Bible.
Right. So the ones who basically follow at the way of the heathens.
Yep.
And according to the flesh, who are called the uncircumcision. So the ones who were of Israel, who were not calling themselves Israel, who were called the uncircumcision by those who were called circumcised. Called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. And the circumcision was those who were keeping the law.
Yep. That's how you would consider spiritually be circumcised. It was in keeping the law. Scripture goes into how if you don't keep the law, the law of circumcision doesn't even apply to you. You can be circumcised in the flesh, but if it is made spiritual in keeping it. If you don't keep it, then that circumcision in the flesh profiteth nothing. All right.
So verse 12, at that time, you were without Yahweh Shai. Because it was, like I said, during that time, they didn't have Yahweh Shai. They forsook him.
Yep, forsook him.
Being aliens to the commonwealth of Israel, so they weren't a part of the, those Jews who were keeping the customs.
They wasn't part of the commonwealth. The commonwealth, the wealth is
them keeping the laws and statutes.
Yeah, that in that you have your wealth, your riches, and keeping that, because all things will be bestowed until you have blessing upon blessing and keeping the law, as it says in Deuteronomy 28, starting the first chapter.
And the strangers from the covenant, covenant's promises. So yeah, going back to what we were saying, by the promise that was given to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, from the Yahweh Shai, like the brother said, being strangers from the covenant. So they didn't have the those promises. They forsook the Lord.
Yep, they forsook those. They forsook the ways of Yahweh Shai and took after the customs of the heathen. Therefore, they just forfeited their whole, right to be a part of. But now they're being grafted back in, and that's what we're transitioning from after this scripture. But continue on.
Having no hope, and without Yahweh in the world.
Yep. Just like I said, having no hope. All right.
Take it to 19.
Okay.
So, but now in Yahweh Shai, you do sometimes. And now in Yahweh Shai, ye who were sometimes afar off, are made nigh through the blood of Yahweh Shai. You know? So, by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, through the power of Yahweh Shai, or like the brother said, those people, through the blood, we're being grafted back in.
Mm-hmm. It says they that were far off. We were far off, these other nations taking after their customs.
For he is our peace, who had made both one, and had broken down the middle, the wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of the commandments that contain our ordinance, for to make himself swine one new man, making peace.
Come. Hey, could you start back up at 15 one more time? I just want to get
15. Having abolished in the flesh, it's like having abolished in his flesh enmity.
The enmity, you know, but to say to be carnally minded is enmity with the Heavenly Father, you know, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, you know. So we were at enmity, enmity with the Heavenly Father because we were carnally minded. We were taking out the customs of the heathen, and the heathen are naturally carnal, you know. And the top heathen being the Greeks, which we were under, you know, under Antiochus Epiphanes, which forced us, you know. Oftentimes it was forcibly done to, you know, keep us from maintaining the customs and traditions, you know, in the ways of the Heavenly Father. You know, and you got sellouts. You know, you got a lot of sellouts that, you know,
the ones who willingly did it.
You know, willingly.
Having abolished in his flesh enmity, even the law of the commandments contained in the ordinance, for to make himself twine one new man, so making peace, and that they might reconcile both unto the Most High, and one body unto the cross, having slain the enmity thereof.
Yeah, having slain the enmity, you know, having slain that iniquity, you know, because that's created the enmity, you know, because we were carnally minded.
So verse 17 it said, and it came and it preached peace, came and preached peace unto you, which were afar off, and to them that were not.
Yeah, we weren't just far off because we were scattered. We were far off mentally, you know, spiritually, from keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So on both points, we were far off.
We were scattered because we were going off, you know,
Kind of.
keeping the way, like you said, keeping the ways of the heathens.